Anyway, let's move on to the big Universal horror news. This is kind of in your wheelhouse. In fact,
yeah. So this Friday, we
Yeah.
got, as I mentioned about having a group on MeWe where we're imagining a world where DC Comics expanded universe actually was done well. I also have a group where we're fixing the Universal Monsters Dark Universe, that dark universe that they announced and with much fanfare that died when they put out that new Mummy movie. So I imagine if I was to be put in charge, how I would have done it, and I would have done it well, and I would have done it better. Well, apparently Universal has not, doesn't want to listen to Troy and doesn't want to listen to the Professor Geek community, because they're moving ahead with Dracula, with giving him a sci-fi Western reimagining.
Okay, Mr. Frowny Face or Sourfoot or whatever. I'm going to read from this article, and I'll let the chat decide for themselves. Okay, please.
Yeah, go for
a little
it.
respect, and
I'm sorry, I shouldn't.
And don't be negative.
I shouldn't assume your opinions for
Don't
you
assume my
viewers.
opinion. Okay,
right.
Listen up, guys. Eternals director Chloe Zhao has been tapped.
I'm in. Definitely now.
Can you not interrupt when I'm reading? Okay, all right. This is important. This is going to change.
This is going to change my opinion. Right?
This is going to be a reimagining of Dracula. Okay, has been tapped to a reimagined Dracula as a science fiction Western for Universal Studios.
Sorry, I can't keep a straight face.
Keep quiet. I'm keeping a straight face because I find this. I'm very curious about this. I've always been fascinated by vampires and the concept of the other they embody. Zhao, who will write, produce, and direct this new take on Dracula, said in a release, "I'm very excited to work with Donna, Peter, and the team at Universal to reimagine a beloved character." This is another quote. Chloe's singular lens shines a light on stories of the overlooked and misunderstood, Universal Pictures president Peter Kramer said. "We are thrilled to be working with her as she reimagines one of the most iconic outsider characters ever created." I'm excited. I'm pumped. Come on.
Here's the inherent problem with that last sentence. You use reimagined and iconic in the same damn sentence. If you don't see a problem with that, there is the problem.
Listen, Dracula is a misunderstood character. Dracula is, in my opinion, one of the greatest villains ever written in literature, and
he's never been put on screen. Period.
He can't be a villain anymore. That's what I'm thinking. He's the other, the outsider. My
Casey Scott, Eternals director. So Dracula is gay now. Yes, he is. The BBC just did that, or whatever.
Oh, I didn't watch that. The Moffat Show. Oh no.
Yeah.
No.
That's already done. That's old hat already.
What? This is my theory about all this stuff. Okay. Dracula is a villain and a monster, or a bit of both, right? That's how I've seen him portrayed. Okay.
Right.
In literature and in many great movies. Okay.
Yeah.
And my problem is that when they're doing this thing, I often wonder if people in Hollywood, they identify too much with the villain to the point where, the villain's not really all that bad. It's,
Well, here's the problem when it comes to Dracula, okay? Gay, straight, I don't care, because I'll be honest with you, when Nanette roasts a chicken and brings it to me, I don't think about having sex with it.
Yeah. Actually, that was a funny line on True Blood where the one of the vampires wouldn't feed on someone and then do it with them at the same time. That's gross. That was gross to them,
That makes sense to me.
Oh man, no, I'm sorry, Dracula. I'm your Huckleberry. Yep, that'll be in the movie. I have a Dracula science fiction Western, and
wait a minute. You could convince me that a Dracula Western has a place. Okay, so if late 1800s Dracula is set in England, okay, early 1900s Dracula could be in the American West. Okay, he emigrates to the U.S., whatever, starts his empire out in California or something. Fine. What is the sci-fi element then?
Well, science fiction. He'll be an alien. He'll be from planet Zeist.
Oh God.
I don't know what's going on anymore. You know what? I know what's going on. People are doing drugs while they're coming up at these team meetings. That's what's going on. I don't understand. And stop using the word the other for the vampire, okay? Stop it, please. The whole point of the vampire is that it's
not the other as in an alien or whatever.
It's not the foreigner.
It is an elemental, like the devil or like
yes.
the hurricane that destroys your city.
Yes.
You don't reason with it. You don't make love to it. Okay. You don't try to understand it. You just don't die from it
and try to take it out or imprison it or something. I don't understand this. I'm old fashioned when it comes to vampires, and I want an old fashioned vampire, and we can't get an old fashioned vampire anymore. We haven't had an old fashioned vampire for what, like 30 years. I'm tired of this.
A good reimagining would be to actually go back and tell the story of Dracula, which they've never done before.
Well, I'll say this. I love the Hammer Dracula movies too, and they deviate a bit from the Stoker novel, but it's still Dracula.
Yeah.
It's still horror movies. He's still a monster.
And that's just it. I would say Bela Lugosi came about as close as I've ever seen on screen. Actually, the ironically named Bram Stoker's Dracula would have been a great movie if you completely took out that whole stupid love story that was never in the original story. That's some hubris to call it Bram Stoker's Dracula and then add this whole love scene and story that was never in the book in the first place.
Yes, I remember the Bram Stoker's Dracula movie. Oh, my dad was funny because that was family night. We were watching the video, and of course we get to the beast scene where he's the beast, and who is it, Lucy, who in the garden maze, and he goes, "What is this, a porno?" And he got all angry.
Yeah,
it was one of those embarrassing moments, like where you're not supposed to be watching something with your parents, like that. But what did I want to say though? But what's funny though? Big Al and I were watching that with Mr. Matchstick on the soundtracks of Birdman because that's a great score. What do you think of the movie?
Score. And Annie Lennox tune. Oh
yeah.
God.
Oh yeah, and we were watching it, and there's the scene in it where he gets the letter from, was it Mina? Did they reverse Lucy and Mina in that? No, it was Mina. Okay,
no, it was Hammer that did that.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Mina writes the letter saying, "I can't be with you. I'm going with Jonathan Harker." Yeah. And I said at that point, "Oh, he got a Dear Vlad letter."
That's
just
funny.
I don't know. You know what this is telling me? Dracula Untold, for as many problems I have with the movie, is still one of the better Dracula movies of recent years because I could have seen how it could have been good, and I might discuss that this Friday on your stream.
I would appreciate that because I am going to touch on that.
Go ahead.
I do think that story has to be told, and to be honest with you, the casting I thought was great too.
There was a good framework in that movie.
Yeah,
I think it fell apart at the very end. I was on board until it falls apart at the very end because I liked the idea because, let's face facts, Vlad Tepes in Romania, he's considered a hero.
Yes.
But then you have this mythical character, Dracula, who's this great villain. Like, how do you combine the two? And that movie was kind of figuring it out, okay?
Yeah, it actually
and it's like a devil's bargain to save your country, but then what do you become? That's sort of what it was going with.
But you have to make it a villain story without a redemptive arc. I mean, he literally gives up his soul, and so he is no longer, Vladislav anymore. He is now a soulless creature.
Yes.
And so as you go forward with that character, he doesn't redeem himself. He doesn't get his soul back. He is a villain, Or
if you wanted to go that route, you could do it, but do it in a later movie. Don't do it in that movie. Like maybe have a movie where he's the villain. Okay, we'll talk about it more on Friday. Okay, but
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
had my own ideas of how they could have done that. You know, because Dracula is a fascinating character regardless. I mean, he's one of the more interesting monsters. I've seen him portrayed different ways. It's funny, in the original book, he is kind of thuggish, though, underneath all of the larger than life stuff.
The Carpathian warlord is definitely there in his character.
Yeah, he's not the mastermind I sometimes see him portrayed in other things.
Yeah.
Like in those wall chicken games.
Yeah,
as you call them.
Although I would say he could grow into that. I mean, if you're a vampire and you live for hundreds of years, hopefully you gain some wisdom as you go along.
Yeah,
you get smarter, you get more patient, or hopefully you do. You know.
Yes. Well, maybe. I mean, but they like doing the love story with Dracula too. That's the other thing. That's probably when things started to turn. He's still Dracula, but they start bringing the love story into it.
But see, if you're going to do that, then you've got to do something with the female vampire characters, the three wives, so to speak. I've got some plans for that too. We'll talk about that on Friday too.
I like the three wives in the Coppola movie, but anyway, that's neither here nor there.
I'm with you. But I think that lends itself to. I mean, you want to do your spin-offs. You do your Bride of Dracula, and you do Elizabeth Bathory, and you do there's something to be said for that. There's some stories to be told before we even get to the Bram Stoker's novel.
Oh yeah, also Carmilla, the Karnstein vampires. The neat thing about the Hammer movies is that the Hammer movies tended to be standalone, but sometimes they would do sequels. Movies like the Dracula movies, they got sequels.
Well, they did a Carmilla trilogy.
They had actually. I would say it's 4. Because I think Captain Kronos is included with those.
I've never seen it. It is on my to see list.
Yeah, because I think the family name is a little different, but it sounds like Karnstein, and I think it's supposed to be in that universe. The Captain Kronos Vampire Hunter, and you also have Twins of Evil, which is a great Hammer movie. It's one of my favorites.
I wore out the VHS tape.
You can get it on DVD.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
Oh, are you saying you? Because of the Collinson twins, yes.
Yeah, because
apparently had been in Playboy. Apparently they had been in Playboy as well. So anyway, that's neither.
I know that too.
Okay, but the neat thing about Twins of Evil, though, it's a great.
I was a terrible teenager. I really was.
It's fine. It's fine. We all have our anyway. We all looked under the sink. Anyway, in the basement.
Yeah, right.
Okay,